Hello, I'm Brigantia of Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Saturday and welcome to this week's Loki video. First, I'd like to begin by saying that this past week was unbearably hot. It was ungodly in the most expansive sense of that term, and it just put everything completely out of order. However, this ridiculous amount of heat has provided a stark contrast for when the temperatures plummeted 30 degrees overnight, quite literally. The energy all around me changed. I had an instant attitude adjustment, and I noticed that Loki seemed different as well. After working with him for a year, I've noticed how his energies ebb and flow throughout the seasons, when he's more actively involved, when he's taking a bit of a backseat, and what mood he seems to be in when I meditate and commune with him. But the moment the temperatures fell and I brought out the chai tea and the cinnamony apple pie offerings and I burned more of his favorite dragon's blood incense, he felt more present. He was more active and his energy just felt happy. Now, cinnamon anything has always been very pleasing to Loki when making offerings, at least from me. And now, when you think about it, there was a time when cinnamon was very difficult to come by and it was very, very expensive. So anytime someone were to give an offering that contained cinnamon or just offered cinnamon itself, it was a profound sacrifice to make. Now, these days, cinnamon is much more widely available, and it's more so about catering and really tailoring one's practices to suit a deity's preferences. And Loki and the rest of the gods do genuinely have preferences. They are individuals. And while they always take into account the spirit in which we give offerings, which of course, if we bring something with a good heart, obviously that's quite likely to be found acceptable. But when we put forth the effort, and we try to present them with something that they actually like, I think that says something, both about how we are managing our resources and the importance that we place upon their relationship with us. Now, during the hotter months, I, of course, gave Loki cinnamon whiskey, and I tried to incorporate cinnamon wherever I could, where it would make sense. But it just feels so different to give these things when the air is crisp and the flavor of the cinnamon is sharpened and everything just feels more real. I think that the autumn is really Loki's favorite season, and I think that's that's at least what my dealings with him have led me to believe, because everything just feels better. He's just more active, more involved. Not that he's ever too far away, but just now it's like we're ready to get back to it. We have endured the summer, and now we're ready to get back to the important things. And now, speaking a little bit more about the cinnamon aspect of it, is that if you think about the magical nature of cinnamon, it's very compatible with Loki's spirit, his very being, and his way of doing things. And if you look up the correspondences for cinnamon, you'll often find descriptors like awareness, inner balance, focus, consecration, defense, divination, dream work, healing, illumination, inspiration, justice, attraction, magic, passion, power, prosperity, protection, purification, spirituality, transformations, with visions, and wisdom. And all of these intentions, everything I just mentioned, it requires us to have flexibility, to exercise discernment, and also understand our overarching sense of purpose, what we're doing and why we're doing it. And if I had to boil down Loki's chief personality traits, those are also terms I'd use to describe him: flexible, discerning, purposeful. And I think this also represents the spirit of the autumn season. The temperatures fluctuate, the weather is much less predictable, and we have to constantly adapt. That's the flexibility. We need wisdom in order to prepare for the cooler months ahead, both materially and spiritually, especially this year. That's the discernment. And of course, without having a sense of purpose and goals and the drive to meet them, we're less likely to be successful in general. So keeping that in the forefront of our minds, keeping our focus on that it also brings in another important aspect, both of the energy of the season and of Loki himself. So I think this is the time of year when Loki really shines. I mean, the veil is thinning. We've got more of cinnamon goodness everywhere that's fueling us and refreshing us. And it just makes the outlook on everything much sharper. I can't wait to see what the season brings, what lies ahead, and what Loki has in store for the next chapter, because he's not one to rest on his laurels. He doesn't let me do so either. So I'm curious to see what the next stage will be. So now let me know what you think. Have you had a similar experience with Loki yourself? If you are someone who's a devotee of his and you've worked with him for a longer period of time, are there different patterns that you've noticed in your practice with him? I would love to hear about it. You could tell me about it in the comments section, or better yet, visit me on Gilded. Click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to our server, Blackbird's Brew. I have an entire channel devoted to Norse spirituality. So if you want to hit me up there or in the general chit chat channel, or just send me a DM on the Gilded, I would just love to discuss this with you. So I hope to see you soon. But that'll do it for right now, and I will see you next time. Bye.